Hello, Algebra 2 students, Chapter 2, Section 5, Solving Equations Involving Absolute Value. Now, the idea of absolute value is not a new idea. Let's review what absolute value means. Absolute value just means the distance that a number is from 0. The distance from 0 is its absolute value. And distance can never be negative. Whenever you measure distance, it's always positive. So the absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 2 is 2, because on a number line, negative 2 is 2 units away from 0. The distance is 2 units. You never have negative distance, therefore absolute value, because it's the distance from 0, is never negative. Ever negative. Never, ever is absolute value negative. Now I'm emphasizing that for a purpose that you'll see later. Alright, so what are we going to do with absolute value in an equation? Well, in this one they told us that a is 5. So I hug my variable a and I plug in 5 in place of a minus 7. That's all in absolute value plus 15. So a positive 5 minus 7, and in pre-algebra you should have learned that you're really just adding the inverse of 7. So that's opposite signs. We will subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So it's a negative 2. And I bring my absolute value symbols down. So 5 minus 7, or 5 plus negative 7, is negative 2. Now I'm going to take the absolute value. So I do the operation first. It's like parentheses. You do everything in parentheses first, then take the absolute value. So that equals 2 plus 15, which gives us a final answer of 17. When solving equations that involve absolute value, there are two cases to consider. The expression inside the absolute value symbol is positive or 0. The second case is that the expression inside the absolute value symbol was negative. So if you have an absolute value of x and we say that that equals 2, what was x? A lot of people say x was 2. Well, x could be 2 or x could have been negative 2, because when I plug in a negative 2, that also gives me 2. So I have two possible scenarios. And don't forget that you can sometimes have 0 inside your absolute value. So let's look at what to do when we have this situation. Alright, so solve each equation and then graph the solution set. We have absolute value equals 4. Now don't forget, we have two cases. Did it equal 4 or was it negative 4? Because it could have been that when I did y plus 2, it could come out to be a negative 4. Then I took the absolute value, which gave us positive 4. So I have to work it for both scenarios, both cases. So once we've taken care of setting it up, and we said it could be 4 or it could have been negative 4, we do not have to worry about the absolute value any longer. So here we'll subtract 2 from both sides, and y equals 2. Or, when I subtract 2 from both sides, y equals negative 6. So your possible solution is 2 or negative 6. See how that works? If you plug in negative 6 plus 2, you get negative 4, but it's the absolute value of negative 4, which equals 4. So that's how you can check yourself. Would it turn out to be a positive 4? Negative 6 does turn out to be a positive 4. So how do we graph this on a number line? Well, you pick a 0, and since this is positive and negative, I'm going to cheat over to the right just a little bit, because I only had to go over to 2 and then have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down here to negative 6. So those are the two solutions for A. So what are the two solutions for B? X minus 4 equals 9, or x minus 4 could have equaled negative 9, and then we took the absolute value. So see how you really don't need to write the absolute value bars. You're just going to be solving simple equations add 4. Try to do it without showing my work. So we could have a positive 3. So if this is 0, 1, 2, 3, or negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, for this problem, I'm going to let you do C on your own. I'm going to leave that one for you. You will have a 2x, but that's okay. Your two scenarios are 2x minus 1 equals 7, or 2x minus 1 could equal negative 7. I'm going to let you solve that one. But let's look at D together. Now, what did I say about absolute value? I said absolute value can never, ever, never be negative. And right here, D says the absolute value of P plus 6 is what? Negative 5. That is no solution. That is not possible. You cannot have absolute value. You cannot have absolute value and have a negative. So they're trying to trick us here, and that is no solution. So I will be checking C tomorrow when you come to class. Now let's look at a word problem. The average temperature in Tennessee in August is 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Give or take 5 degrees. Write an equation to represent this and then find the maximum and minimum average temperature and graph your solution. Now I often have to read word problems twice. So let's read that again. The average temperature in Tennessee in August is 88 degrees, give or take 5 degrees. All right, so I don't know the temperature. It says write an equation to represent this and then find the maximum and minimum average temperature. So I don't actually know the temperature, and that give and take is the 5 degrees. So that's where it could be. We could add 5 degrees or we might subtract 5 degrees. So that's where absolute value is going to come in. So our temperature, we don't know what it is, but it's either above or below 88. So I'm going to say our temperature, take away 88, can be 5 degrees. It can be 5 degrees above, or it could be 5 degrees below. So again, absolute value says we're going to test this x minus 88, the difference there can be a positive 5, or x minus 88, the difference could be negative 5. So let that soak in for just a minute. We don't know. X stands for our real temperature. We don't know the real temp, the actual temp. It's either over 5 or under 5. 5 over or 5 under. So when I add 88 here, trying to keep it lined up, 8 and 5, that's 13. So it could be 93 degrees. Or if I add 88, it could be 83 degrees. So when it asked us to find the maximum and the minimum, so if it's only over or under 88 by 5 degrees, our maximum temperature would be at 93. And our minimum temperature would be at 83. So I'm just sort of rough sketching it here. Let's make this 92, 91. I just jumped in there. So I went ahead and filled in my number line off camera. So we're between 93 and 83. So that's our August temperature averages between the two. And remember, 88 was sort of the middle. So it's 5 below and it's 5 above, and that's how you might have thought it through. Some of you think this way and didn't know how to make the equation, but after we practice you'll see how to set up that absolute value. All right, finish that one that we didn't do together and come to class ready to get busy on absolute value. Y'all have a great day.